Have a really good think, because somebody you know could earn you a lot of money for very little effort. Think, who do you know that wants to buy a property in Spain? A colleague, a mate, someone in your family, a friend of a friend? If you know someone, go to welcome-estates.com and click the Refer a Friend link. If they buy, you'll pocket a nice chunky thank you from one of Spain's leading estate agents. T's and C's apply. All details at welcome-estates.com.
Hello, all you hardcores out there. How are you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, biggest gob in sport. Today we're joined by Kent, the most eligible bachelor in Northern Ireland. How are you doing, Kent?
Good morning, Russell. How's it going?
Going brilliant, mate. It's going brilliant. We'll go straight in then. Joyce, Zhang, what did you make of it, Kent?
I really wasn't surprised by it, to be honest. You've got Joyce, very static, very upright, doesn't move his head off the line the whole time. You know, this is a guy that's out spending a fortune in America in training camps with Ishmael Salas. He's been with Adam Booth, and he can't move his head. So I think that the Zhang fight was always going to be tough. And to be honest with you, it's not really a massive step back in his career, because he wasn't getting the world title shot anyway. You know, he's been number one mandatory for Usyk or AJ or whoever had that WBO belt for the last 2 years.
Yeah. And
it hasn't been mandated. So it's not like, he's not getting the world title shot now. He wasn't getting the world title shot before that. I thought Zhang landed so many. I've never seen a fighter land as frequently with power shots, consistently from the get-go. It was hard to watch at times. It didn't look like he was shot. It just looked like he just can't move his head. And Zhang's a big puncher, like, especially with his lead hand. All his power seems to be in his lead hand, and he was landing that jab. He landed his backhand. He just landed anything he threw, he was landing. And I think it should have been stopped a bit earlier. They took him to the doctor. The doctor, he was okay. And then 10 seconds later, it wasn't. So what was the difference there? It was, to be fair, it was a really good heavyweight fight. It was two, top 15, top 10, top 15 heavyweights boxing, fighting each other.
Do you think
which makes a change?
Do you think if it had been Steve Gray or Terry O'Connor that had just left Joyce in there, if it
probably
was Foster,
they'd probably fell asleep in the ring, Russell.
Yeah. What did you think to all the hype around it? Because people, let's be honest, it's a good fight, but with that start of action, the hype around it's been unreal, hasn't it? Because there's no belt on line and they're old men.
It's just probably more refreshing that you've got a top 10 heavyweight and a top 15 heavyweight actually fighting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but that's not the run of the mill, innit? Back in the day, guys in the top 15 fought each other even if they didn't have a belt. But we lost our minds over this one, didn't we? Really?
Yeah, for weeks everyone was really excited about it.
Yeah, two guys in top 15 going at it. Wow.
I was really excited about it. You've got Zhang Jile. I thought he was really unlucky in that last fight against Hrgovic. I thought he won that by about 3 rounds. That was on the first AJ and Usyk undercard. I thought he won that fight pretty handily. He dropped Hrgovic. He outboxed him. He's made a lot of improvements. The first time I ever seen him was against Jeremy Forrest, and he looked like he was going to have a heart attack in the ring. He was just so unfit, and now he seemed to adopted the pro boxing. Up close to 20 fights in. But to be honest with you, it was really refreshing to actually see two top light heavyweights actually fighting each other without a belt.
Yeah, really refreshing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you have to give credit, to Joyce and Zhang. Give them credit, but they're fighters. That's their job. But it was a really, really good fight. I was looking forward to it for weeks. So it was actually, I don't gamble but I actually, favoured Zhang to beat Joyce just because of his style. Their styles matched really, really well. I think you look at Zhang's style, you look how heavy handed he is, you look how accurate he is, his punching, what would he have done to AJ Russell?
What would Zhang have done to Dylan White, the can man? Anybody who wants it can get it, because he usually calls out 40-year-olds, but he's not mentioning Zhang, is he?
Nobody is. Derek Chisora, Dillian White, that could have been a comeback fight for AJ.
Yeah. What did you think to judging? I mean, one of them had Zhang losing, didn't they, at time at stoppage? What were all that about?
I had him up every round.
I mean,
I had him.
what on it? The fix for him, wasn't it?
It's really embarrassing now. British boxing is actually becoming the Germany of the 90s.
Steve Munster's scorecard was disappointing as well, wasn't it?
Well, he's got his own agendas, to be honest with you. He's not, he works for who does he work for now?
BT.
Come on, he's employed by the promoter.
Steve
So
Munster's the Johnny Nelson of BT, isn't he?
yeah, he's the new company man at BT.
I like Munster though, but disappointing his scorecard on that one.
Yeah, I had Zhang probably 5 out of 6 rounds.
Yeah. How disappointing was Joyce's head movement though, Ken? What were all that about? He's hardly learned anything off Bricktop's shoulder roll, has he?
Yeah, he trains with Ishmael Salas. It's all that Cuban style boxing that Terry absolutely hates, with absolutely no rhythm. He's no rhythm. He's no upper body movement. He's too stiff. And when you have a style like that there, and you talk about how good a chin you have, you can only have a good chin for so long. I just think he just couldn't even step back out of the way of punches. Never mind moving his head. I think he's just got into that way of just walking through people. And he walked into the wrong fighter, and Saturday Night Zhang, style wise, it was just completely all wrong for him.
Yeah, it was. You wouldn't put Zhang down as being like a pin-up poster boy, would you? Really? He's not big on looks, is he? Oh, he's not, is he? Yeah, he's not got a lot going for. He's not got a lot going for him, has he? Really, Zhang? Has he in the looks department?
Well, he's a fighter, Russell. So he's not exactly.
He's become a cult star, hasn't he now?
He has. He is a cult star. I kind of started. I got on the Zhang bandwagon after the Hrgovic fight, because I had been saying for so long on this channel that Hrgovic, I didn't rate him. I didn't see the danger in him. I didn't see why he was so avoided.
What do you think to his slogan?
What's that, Russell?
Chat shit, get banged, get sanged, something like that. Chat shit, get zanged or something.
It's so funny. It's absolutely. So TikTok will be going mad over the weekend with Zhang. Get banged by Zhang, or Zhang or whatever. It's no, it's good. It's refreshing. He's gonna get a big. There's gonna be big fights out there for him. He's just entertaining. He's a big heavyweight that can punch people. That's what people want to watch. You look at AJ's last performance, and you look at an 18-stone heavyweight trying to volume punch and pitter patter shots. People don't want to watch that. People want to tune into the heavyweights and see big punchers.
Yeah. Well, that Zhang, obviously, he basically made Joyce look basic, didn't he? He made him look what he is, didn't he? And what I've always said, a big, stiff Frankenstein's monster robot.
Yeah, and you go back and you look at the Takam fight. He was getting hit so much in that Takam fight. Takam hit him with everything in that fight. with so much regularity. His backhand landed so much, and you're thinking then, we actually said that we thought Joyce was shot then after the Takan fight, and I don't think he's shot. He's not shot. He just doesn't move his head, and he's getting the habit of just getting the fights, steamrolling through guys, and not needing to move his head. Now, you look back stylistically, he's only fought one southpaw as a pro, and that was Linroy Thomas, who posed absolutely no threat to him.
Yeah.
But I think Zhang gives a lot of heavyweights trouble.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Can it moving sideways or moving in a circle like it all does? Because every day it changes, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I don't think Joyce's career is going down, as affected by it. He lost the fight, but he wasn't getting a title shot anyway. Frank Warren has been fogging him off with fights just to keep, the belt on Usyk for Fury. So it hasn't really changed for him. There will probably be a rematch, and that'll be that fight will be really big the next time. It will be really, a lot more people get behind it because it was a good fight. But as I say, it just looked to me like Warren had been fobbing him off for the last 2 years, and maybe Warren wanted him to lose, so that takes a bit of pressure off him and forcing the WBO mandatory.
Well, maybe they might get maybe they might have options on Zhang. You don't know, do you?
Well, you look at it going forward. So it looks like it's going to be Dubois and Usyk. So surely he's going to maybe have options on that. So he has on that fight.
He'd love to get all
Usyk.
he'd love to get all belts, won't he, Bricktop?
Yeah, and he's got. I don't actually see that.
He's never really had a run at heavyweight, has he? Really, a good run, has he?
Never. Not even in the UK at the time when.
I mean, for me, only divisions that matter really. For me, featherweight, lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, light heavy, and heavy. I don't care about cruiserweights. I don't care for middleweight. But I don't know. Maybe I should do care for middles. Super middle. I don't care for super middle no more. That's not just because Cobra's retired. I think it's opponent division. I do honestly. They're either moving up or they're staying there. What are they doing with these weights? But welterweight for me is exciting, and lightweight and light heavy and heavy. They're the top four for me.
Yeah, it just goes back to you, Russell. I think you're more a traditionalist in boxing. They're the traditional weights.
Seven weight. But we've got 18 weight divisions now, which brings me to this. The WBO, we've got 62 active belts, throughout. 62, but we've only got 18 weight divisions. So we've got this WBO, whatever, Asian Pacific, global bronze, or whatever it's all called. It's now become a farce, whereas every fight needs a belt, doesn't it? And these sanctioning bodies, they're wanting their slice of cake. Why can't we just go back to one champion and then numbers? Do you remember the Parkinson interview years ago where they were hammering Joe Bugda and Ali says, how can you hammer him? He's the ranked number 4 guy in the world. Why can't we go back to him wanting to have a ranking and get up that ladder?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you now, that it's changed a lot. The dynamic in time has changed from that. Then boxing now is not a sport, and that's what we need. The amateur boxing's a sport. Professional boxing isn't a sport as such. It's a business. Sanctioning bodies are a business. They make money off belts. So the more belts that they have, and the more fighters that they have in their rankings, the more money they make. It's consumerism. It's commercialization, and that's the way boxing's going. Boxing is becoming more a business /entertainment business rather than just a pure sport where there's one champion at each weight. If there's one champion at each weight, it means the sanctioning body would probably only be getting 2 sanction fees a year per weight division, and that wouldn't be sustainable for them now in today's global climate.
Yeah. Yeah. Which would you say is worst commission, Kent, out of all of them? The worst one?
So I kind of, I think the WBC are an absolute joke. Especially when you go back and you look at the likes of the Oscar Valdez thing, you feel the drugs test.
The IBF
let
got
him,
for corruption in '80s.
they let him off with that. Well, they only really formed in the '80s. The WBA is farcical. The WBA is the worst.
Well, WBA is the worst, isn't it?
They're farcical. They are absolutely farcical. WBC aren't far behind them. WBO are kind of.
They've tidied themselves up recently, aren't they? WBO a little bit, aren't they?
Yes, they have. I don't mind the WBO. I don't mind the IBF. The IBF are so strict with. Well, you look at.
They have to be, don't they? Because FBI have to check their books every year now, don't they? In IRS.
Yeah, they you look at the whole Joss Warrington, Kid Galahad thing as well. They called that mandatory, that rematch mandatory, and Joss gave up the belt. You look at Joe Cardina recently, he broke his hand. He had to give up the belt to let another fighter, be active. But as far as the other belts, I think WBC and the WBA are absolutely farcical. Farcical, especially the WBA. That regular belt is absolute trash. Like that I call it the inferior belt. That is an absolute joke.
Yeah, they're just inventing it as they go along, aren't they, mate?
Yeah, the super champion was meant to be for a fighter who had unified all the belts. He was the super champion. Now there's a super champion on its own with the regular champion. That's just stupid. So it is.
Yeah. Dylan White. They're saying his only game left in town for him, where he heard now, is the Chisora fight, or that is it, hit the road, Jack. What do you think?
I don't think he comes back for that. I don't think there's enough money in it.
Well, does he fight then?
I don't think he'll fight.
Well, he can't fight Fury or Usyk, so a world title shot's out of question. Joshua's parked up till December, right? So where does that leave the can man?
I wouldn't be surprised if he called out Joyce.
Wouldn't you?
No, that for me, there's absolutely no legs in the Dubois fight. Nobody's gonna watch that. Nobody, not even the hardest hardcore fighter boxing fans are not gonna watch that. There's no money in that.
Well,
If Eddie,
why did he call Dylan White, Joe Joyce out before Dylan White?
I think he's sitting around waiting for the AJ fight. I think that's the only fight he wants. I don't think it's going to be the money it was.
I think it'll be just a tick over fight till AJ's ready. I don't think he's going to risk that one because that's his only big payday now, isn't it? He'll get a mini payday against Chisora. It won't be like AJ money, will it?
No chance. He's not gonna. I don't think he'll fight Dubois. I don't think there's the legs in it. I don't think there's the money in it. I don't think he's going to want to go to Portugal and spend money in a camp and train, put himself through a training camp for that. No way.
Do you think Dylan White's fat as a pig Michelin man, Kent?
To be honest with you, he always kind of comes in shape. He invests in his training camps. He takes himself away. He brings in good sparring. He's had more. He's had more trainers than Foot Locker and coaches. So I can't criticize him too much on that, but I don't think he's going to want to put himself through the vigors of training camp for next to nothing against Dubois. There's no way. He's just going to sit it out. If he can get the Joe Joyce fight, because Joe Joyce has been beat, or the AJ fight, he'll do that. But anything other than that, I can't see him doing that.
No.
No, he's not. Nah, no way. Not when you've had that money he made against Tyson Fury. How could you get yourself motivated to make less than $1 million for a purse when you made that amount of money against Tyson Fury? I can't see it.
Yeah. What do you see happening with this Saudi chat, Kent? Do you think it's just lip service, or do you think it could be true?
There's something in it because Eddie Hearn there in the zone last year signed a deal with them to put on a series. The series had to be there was a strict criteria for these fights, and I think this heavyweight tournament falls in that criteria. Now it's going to be interesting to see. I think Heleno and Bivol were the first of that series, so they were in that like Saudi boxing series. So there's something in this. So there's definitely something in this.
If they do,
Will
go on, Kent. Sorry.
will it be an independent pay-per-view, or the Saudis, will they have their own platform to showcase these events, or is it a matchroom thing? It
Ken,
all depends.
yeah, Ken. Do you know if they do this right, does it hold the belts to ransom?
It does. It does. It's kind of going into PBC mode, the way PBC used to operate a couple of years back. I was always really surprised that time that Andy Ruiz actually give uh, Femi the rematch, even though he was contracted. I always thought there was going to be a way that Al Heyman would steer him away from the rematch and keep all the belts. So this is just going to be a copy of that. But I don't think it's as much about the belts and holding the belts for ransom. The belts have been in ransom for the last 3 years. You know, the WBC and the whole thing with Tyson, or sorry, with Joshua and Usyk. You know, the belts have been on those three for the last 4 or 5 years. So it doesn't really change. I think it's just the numbers that those fighters will draw. I think that's more so the importance than just the belts.
Yeah. All right. Tony Bellew. What's happened to him?
I just don't like him. I'm sick of hearing about him. You know, he was away last week. Before that, the AJ Franklin fight, and he was talking about, yeah, AJ's throwing hundreds of punches around, and I'm saying to myself, well, why would why would an 18 stone fast twitch heavyweight be even trying to throw hundreds of punches around? That doesn't make sense. For me, that's nonsense.
He just
But why?
he's inventing storylines as they go along. They're caught up in their own deceit and lies that much that they just spin anything, don't they?
It's just absolute crap. So
He's
it is.
throwing
That's not
more punches
nonsense.
than a featherweight per round, and he's 18 and a half clem.
That doesn't make sense to me. I heard that, and I'm like, that's
What
just
were he throwing? About 40?
that's just an other
That
other
wasn't it, if
nonsense.
that.
Like, did you hear him say that?
Bellew.
Yeah.
I didn't hear him say that, but I can imagine him saying it.
Oh, he's throwing. Josh was over, and Josh is throwing hundreds
I
of
heard him.
punches around.
I heard him say. I heard him saying that his power were freakish, and that we were going to be we were going to be in for something special and all that. And look what we got.
Special fried rice, more like it.
You know, the only word to describe Big Meech's performance on that night is one word, and that is rhubarb.
It was woeful. You know, you've got an 18 stone heavyweight who isn't punching through the target, especially with his jab, his backhand, generating no force. Before, you know, AJ used to have a really good left hook, good right uppercut inside. He committed to actually throw shots. His hands are way too high. You know, they're right up over. I don't know how can
Throw
even
that
see out
uppercut
his
no
guard.
more, does he, Ken?
No, because his hands are too high. His hands are way too high to get that shot off. For me, like AJ's hands should be kind of like chest level, mid range, so he can get his shots off. Now his hands are way too high to get his shots off. He's pulling his shots. He just looks terrified of getting hit. He doesn't want to commit the shots. And I think anytime he fights a puncher, he's going to be in big trouble.
Yeah. What happens
Big trouble.
if he fights Wilder?
I think Wilder for 9 minutes is really dangerous. I think for 3 rounds, Wilder is absolutely deadly. I think Wilder could put anybody's lights out. You look at the 3 Tyson Fury fights. Well, 2 of them,
Yeah.
he had him down 4 times. So I think on that last performance, I think Wilder puts him in the orbit.
Yeah, I think he melts before he gets in ring against Wilder. You'll see him melt in fight week, Joshua, aka Big Meech.
There's no way that they're going to throw him in with Wilder. If they put him in with Wilder, and Wilder absolutely put him in starched him.
Yeah.
It's gonna say everything before that was a fake.
Yeah. Do you think Big Meech is just frightened to let his shots go, Kent?
I think it goes back to, I don't think it's anything to do with Usyk fight. I think he was like that before it. I think it's all down to the Andy Ruiz fight. I don't think he's ever been the same. I think his confidence, that invincibility, that hype around him was just smashed to pieces on that night. I don't think he's been the same from that. I think this goes way back. I think style-wise, he's got worse each fight after that.
Yeah, I do. It's worrying times for Big Meech, isn't it, and his big entourage.
I wouldn't exactly say it's worrying times for him. He's a multi-millionaire. It's not like he's a few quid short. Not like he's short of a few quid.
But Ken, the point I'm trying to make is now Big Meech is just an also-ran now, isn't he?
Yeah. It's
just another bear bum in the shower.
It just goes to show you that Matchroom project at the time. He was manufactured. You look at the Olympic champion. Like, when was the last time an Olympic champion needed? You're Olympic champion. You come through. You've won a world title. You've unified. You've lost, and then you need to completely rebuild again. Somebody who's an Olympic champion should not need to rebuild their career. Should not need to have multiple coaches. So it just shows you it was manufactured.
I mean, why were he protected so much and they're saying his record's that good? Well, his last 15 opponents have only had 15 losses. So on the billboards, it looks very good if they're averaging out at just 1 loss per man, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks great. It looks great.
But when you scratch the surface, a lot of them were old men, weren't they?
Like
Povetkin, Vladimir.
Eric Molina, that type of level, who's awful.
Dominic Brazil.
Absolutely terrible. Terrible opponents. You look what Wilder did to Dominic Brazil.
Oh, he lit him up, mate. He put him on planet Saturn.
Yeah, I think his head's still spinning after that knockout.
Yeah,
but it was just purely manufactured, and it's been exposed now. Anytime he's met a fighter, a really good fighter, anybody that can do the basics, will beat him. Anybody with fast hands will beat him. Yeah,
they will. What do you think to Derek Chisora as well, Ken? In all this Saudi promotion and blah blah blah. He's walking around, with a tea towel on his head and all that, and bigging up all things Saudi. What do you think? He's lost his marbles a bit now, and he's just trying to get a few quid?
No, I just think he's sold out. He just sold himself out. He just, he knows he's not going to get a big fight. He knows he's not going to get another big fight. Like, who is he? Who wants to? Who's going to pay to watch Dale Boy on DAZN or pay-per-view? Who's he going to fight?
Yeah,
he's 13 losses. So I think he knows that cash cows that's away. The money trains away for Dubois. He said all them things. He's not the smartest at times, Dubois thinks he is. He said all that stuff about Eddie Hearn a couple of weeks back, before the AJ fight. So I don't think Frank Warren's going to bring him in and give him a big send off. So
is he calling Zhang out, Chisora?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Who's calling Zhang out? It's that what's he called? The bogeyman.
Jared Anders.
Philip Hrgovic's calling Zhang. Not Zhang. Hrgovic. Yeah, Hrgovic's calling Zhang out to put records straight or something.
Well, he knows now that he's not going to get it. He's just Hrgovic, for me, absolutely bored with boxing. He's just sitting there waiting for a big fight to retire off. That'll be him on the way to the sunset. He's changed trainers. He based himself in America for a while. It didn't look like it actually helped him any. He was meant to be this terrifying bogeyman in the heavyweight division, and I always said I didn't see why. I didn't see why anybody would say that about him. He hasn't shown anything to suggest that as a pro. So rather than him take a fight against somebody and get next to nothing for it, I suppose the logical step would be a Zhang rematch. But what platform at that on? Who would want to watch? I think what made that fight so interesting at the weekend was Joyce. Joyce is a British fighter. He's very popular. I think that made it what it was. I don't think everyone's going to be running around queuing up to buy pay-per-view for Hrgovic and Zhang, two basically non-speaking fighters, English fighters. I don't see any commercial sense in that. Like,
yeah, well, that Hrgovic went to Peacock, didn't he? And he put hands on Dubois.
Apparently, a lot of people have been buzzing Dubois and sparring apparently, but I don't rate him either. I don't think he's improved any since he's turned pro, to be honest with you.
Do you think Bricktop will cash him out against Usyk?
That's what he's doing. He knows that. Bricktop's not stupid. You look at that.
Bigger fight out there for Dubois. He's not going to get Joshua fight, is he? And he's not going to get Fury fight. So it's biggest one for him, isn't it?
You would be, see if you were Joe Joyce, you'd be sitting back and you'd be saying, he's got this world title-ish belt. He's going to go in, he's going to get a big payday against Usyk, that he beat him.
He'll not get near Usyk Dubois.
No, he'll not. It'll be a glorified sparring session. He'll bring him around for a few rounds, then he'll just break him down and smash him up. I don't rate Dubois at all. I don't see any improvement at all under Shane McGuigan. I think he's static. He's another one that can't move his head. He only throws certain type of shots, combinations. I don't rate him. I think if you put him in with, say, someone like Jared Anderson at this stage, he would get absolutely put in the orbit.
Yeah. All right. Then
Yeah.
What about It's Big Phrase, aka the giant Karamak Easter egg, versus Fabio Wardley for British? What do you think of that for a fight?
It's time to get a move on. Honestly, it's time to get a move on. I don't want to hear this. Oh, I'll be ready for him soon. No, he was an elite heavyweight. He was an ABA champion. He was in EIS training before Fabio Wardley even lifted a glove.
Big bronze.
And Olympic bronze. So I don't want to hear this. Oh, he's going to be ready. No, he's ready now. You're either, if you're at Olympic bronze, I don't think you should. I don't think you should be. I think if you're Olympic bronze or Olympic medalist at any level, within 3 fights, you should be fighting for a British title. It's a waste of time. You're actually taking a massive down step in opposition when you turn pro compared to who you were fighting as an elite heavyweight.
Yeah.
I think you're going backwards fighting that type of You know
All
all
right,
this,
then,
yeah.
Ken.
Pad the record up and all this. No, just get straight in.
All right then, Ken. Well, how's about this one? If it's Big Phrase, right, knacks Wardley inside 3 rounds, right, blitzes him. Has he arrived on the world stage, or will the critics say, well, he just beat a glorified white collar?
No, I don't want to hear the white collar talk anymore. You know, it's that was a romantic boxing story at the start. That was a beanism at the start. That was something that they could talk about. You know, no, he's a British champion now. He's won a British title. I don't want to hear that crap anymore. Just for me, he wins a British title. He needs to be going for a European title straight
All right.
away.
Ken, what do you think to that little cluster then behind Fabio Wardley and It's Big Phrase? Right, the little cluster: Dave Allen, David Adelaide, Solomon Dakaris, and Nathan Gorman. What do you think to that little cluster? Do you think
It's interesting.
most will have a box office or something?
It's really interesting. I don't see it being box office. You know, I see them having really good domestic fights. I think in the heavyweight division at British level, we haven't really had any really good British rivalries. You know, at that level, you know, we haven't really had a really good British title fight at heavyweight. So it would be good. It'd be actually be refreshing for those guys to actually fight each other. Do I see that happening? I don't know, Russell. I don't think so. I would love to see I would actually love to see like Sir David Allen. You know, he's been fighting really poor opposition for 2 years. I think it's just time that all these guys just get a move on. You know, the promoters can't be wasting money paying them just to fight knockovers. They're good. They're good level heavyweights. They're good level fighters. Just get in there and get on with it.
Look at
It's
Dave
just
Allen, 4 fights in 4 years. And none of them had a winning record. What's all that about?
it's Dave for you, isn't it? Really, it's how dedicated is Dave? How much does he want to fight? You know, I've just give up, to be honest with you. I've just give up on it. I've give up on the whole Dave Allen thing.
Yeah. All right then, Kent. We'll go to part 2, lad. Cheers, mate. We'll join you
All
on
right.
part 2. Pop, pop, bang. Everybody but watching me from moon.
Porky's Corner is proud to be sponsored by Spartan Site Solutions. They are specialists in civil engineering and demolition contracts for the construction industry. Interested parties should visit their website or contact Porky's Corner for a referral at porkycorner@mail.com.